Hey everybody, what is going on? And welcome back to another live coding video. So in this one, I'm going to be showing you something called GreenSock, which is a good way to do animations in your browser. And I know there's like CSS animations, you could use like CSS transitions or keyframes, but I find this library a lot more convenient to use, especially if you're dealing with animations that need to happen in a particular sequence. So before I dive into this, be sure to click the subscribe button and that bell icon to get more videos like this in the future if you want to become a better web developer or programmer in general. All right, so let's just take a quick peek at it. So you can see here they have some cool animations going on. They got a video that explains what it is, GSAP. You can do a lot of stuff with animations, SVGs and stuff. And that's pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and I haven't really looked into all the different like examples. I've only just scratched the surface of it, but let's just try to build something simple like that. So if I go to the docs, they have a getting started guide, and they kind of walk you through all the different stuff you can do. It's a lot of stuff, honestly. So we're just going to be focusing on maybe like a couple of them. But let's see. Let's first install it. So over here, I'm going to set up an npm project. And once that's done, I'm going to install GSAP, so GSAP. And that will grab it and install it in my project over here. And then I'm also going to make an index file where I can also make a JavaScript file and a CSS file. How about that? So in all of these files, let's first just scaffold out the index file, and I'm going to include some CSS here. And down at the bottom near the body, before the end tag, I'm going to go ahead and include a script tag. And that is going to, oops, let's see, script source index.js. All right, so I have this hosted over here on port 5555. So at this point, what we can do, we just installed it with npm. You could probably read through this if there's a different way you want to install it. But that is the way I want to install it, and I haven't yet included it. So let's make sure that we include it before we do our main script here. So I'll say script source is node modules, GSAP, and dist. There's a GSAP dist min. Let's just grab that one. And if you have it working correctly, you should be able to console log GSAP. So I'll go back here. I will load up the terminal. Control GJ or something. There we go. And refresh the page, and you notice that GSAP prints out an object with a bunch of different stuff. So you can say GSAP to, GSAP from to, a lot of cool stuff you can do here. And there's also a timeline, which I'm going to use a lot. So the general idea of this framework or library is you have your HTML elements and you can animate them with like CSS properties. So let's just say we have an element called circle, and that's going to be on the page somewhere. So let's say circle. I'll go back to my CSS and I'll do circle. I will make it like, I don't know, 100 by 100. So width, height is 100 pixels. Border radius, we'll do 50%. That makes it round. And we'll do a background color of blue. Why not? And then while we're at it, let's make the body black because darker colors are better on the eyes. So if I refresh this, and why did this? Oh, dark, black. I don't know why I said dark. Refresh this. We have a screen with a black background and a blue circle here. So let's say you wanted to do something simple like animate this ball to go to the bottom right corner or something, or just go to the right of the page. You can obviously do that with CSS transitions, right? You could probably go in the class, add a transition here, And then inside your JavaScript, add a class which has the, I don't know, the CSS left property set to 1000, and it should move to the right. So actually, let me just try to do that to make sure I'm not transition all. 1 second. And I think what I can do is if I make another one called like move, and I say left is 100 pixels, I'm actually going to say position absolute here. And I'll say left is 100 pixels, top is 100 pixels. So that should start with the circle a little bit over here offsetted. And then in my JavaScript, I could set a timeout. And I could say after half a second, I want to add a class, so document get element by ID. It was called circle, and I want to add a class of move. I think that's how you do it. After half a second, class list dot, what is it? Add. Maybe that's how you do it. Let's see. I might have to actually Google this CSS Transitions Example. I'm probably missing something. I haven't used that many CSS transitions. That's something I need to look into, because you need to use transitions to make like really cool looking screens and pages and stuff. I think I'm on Chrome, so I need to use WebKit transition, maybe. Who knows? Let's see. Let's just add that in. So we have transition of all 1 second. Let's see if this does what we want. It doesn't do what we want. Is it actually appending this? Hold on. As class move. And did I... Well, let's try it for ourselves. Let's see how they do it. Does this even do anything? Okay, this site is not a good example. All right, well, bear with me. This is embarrassing, you know. Live coding embarrassment. Just kidding. This happens in coding. I don't know everything, so let's see. Okay, I want to, what is this doing? Open in CodePen, yes. It shouldn't be that hard to do. I'm probably just missing something to make this move. All right, so we have this thing. How do you run this in CodePen? I thought it just runs. There you go. It moved. I don't know what made it. Oh, after 7. Why did we do 7 seconds? Just do half a second. After half a second, it should move and then move back. Okay. So the idea here, you have a box. You do a WebKit transform. Transition property, transition duration, timing function, transition property, blah, blah, blah. So those we shouldn't need to do. Position absolute. So it changes it from box 1 to box 2. And it should... Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. Maybe there's a... We have a circle. It has some stuff. We add a move. We should move it. Add move. All right, let's just try using class name is equal to move. I don't know why this isn't working. All right, so I think I screwed up because yes, leave the site. So I paused for a second to kind of figure out what was going on, and then I looked at this, and you notice here the styles are being like overwritten. So I think this has higher precedence, the actual like ID. So I mean, what I need to do here is I need to say circle dot move, save that. I don't think I need these. I added these on accident. I don't think I need those. So now, after half a second, you'll notice that it moves to the right. I also expanded the width. We don't want to do that. Okay. So that is how you do it with CSS transitions. Okay. So, and if you wanted to make it do more stuff, like let's say when it finishes its moving, then you want to add yet another class and make it kind of expand in width. It's just kind of a lot of work, you know? You have to make a bunch of different classes to just change stuff. And then inside your JavaScript, you need to have different like timeouts and make sure you line them up correctly. So anyway, the gist of this video, now that I finally figured out how to get this thing to move, is there is this GSAP library we can use to actually kind of achieve all of this same stuff. So if I actually get rid of the transitions here, and let's make this a different color so it's easier to actually see on the page. I feel like this blue is hard to see. All right, so now what we can do is we can say GSAP, and then there are a couple of helper methods you can use. There's like from, there's to. Those are the main ones, from and to. And what we can do is use a to one, which basically says take a DOM element using a selector. So I can say hashtag circle to grab the circle ID. And it says take the current state of your circle DOM element and then apply some type of change to it. So I could say left is 100. And then I could say width is, say 20. And then I could give it a duration. So I could say, let's say, make it last for 4 seconds. This transition will last 4 seconds where it goes from its current state to this state. And then the cool thing is actually, I'll show that in a second. But now when I run this, you'll notice that it moves to the right like this. Now that looks kind of strange because I think the width is changing. So let's not change the width. Let's just do the left. Now you do notice it is a little bit jittery, right? It does use more CPU, it seems. And that's, I think, because I'm using the left property. You could try different properties here. So instead I could say maybe X is 100. And that is going to do a transform instead. And it's still pretty laggy. So I think it's just because I'm screen recording. But anyway, if you're not screen recording, this will look a lot more smooth. And there's probably other ways to make this more performant. I need to look up. Let's see. Let's see if they have an example of like moving something. You could probably also do SVGs that would probably be... They do it down here and it looks... How do I rerun this? Like that animation is pretty smooth. And they use X. Box X2. What does the CSS look like? Okay, so anyway, we could say X, we could say, I don't know, Y is 500. Make the duration 2. And refresh the page. So you can do cool stuff like that, right? So another cool thing you can do with transitions is there's something called easing. So if I go back to the docs, there is, let's see, type in ease. Let's see if we get what we want. Eases. Okay, so they have this cool visualizer where they have a list of all the eases you can use. And there's in and out, and there's in out. But basically, you can pick some of these, like power 1. And this is the animation that it will follow. So like bounce, it will be like bouncing a ball. So that's a good one we could probably do, is bounce. So on this transition, I could say ease, and then I could say bounce out, which is, the out is down here, the type. You can do .out, .in out. So if I refresh this, you notice that it bounces like a ball. So that is pretty awesome. And you can, another benefit of this is, I don't think you can do color transitions in CSS, but in GSAP you can. So if I wanted to change it from yellow to, let's say, orange or something, I could easily do that like this. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, and that is the to method. So the alternative is a from method, and what this does is it basically takes your circle on the page, or your DOM element, it applies these classes, and then it transitions back to the original state here. So it's going to go from your state declared here, and then go back to your original CSS state. So if I save this, it should start on this corner and then go back to the left. So you can notice here, boom. Now, there's also a cool method called from to, which is basically, let's say you don't want to define any of your CSS inside of this file, right? You could just obviously define it all here. So I could say, make it go from the left, and I don't remember where the duration goes. Let's see. Targets from vars to vars. Yeah, so from yellow. I have to look that one up to get more information about how that works. But if I were to, let's say, go in the CSS and just comment everything out and refresh this, I think I need to keep that on. Let me not comment everything out. Let me just comment out the ones that, there we go. So if you see here, it's still going from the left to the right. In fact, let's see, if I change this to red, so it should be red when it starts, but since I'm doing from to, I can make this blue and then go to orange. So if you notice that it quickly flashed from red to blue, and then it transitioned to orange. So those are the two really good helpful methods you can use in GSAP. There's the from, there's to, and there's from to. You might need to look up where exactly you add duration and ease, because it doesn't make sense that they are on all of them. I think it just needs to be in your to. Like if I get rid of this, let's see what happens. Yeah, so anyway, those are the three main methods you can use. Now, another really useful thing is your timeline. There's a timeline class, I believe. And let's see if we can figure out how to do this. Timeline, here we go. So let's say we wanted to do a transition after a transition after a transition. So if I go back to my CSS and just add in that stuff again, and we don't want from to, so let's just go back to to. All right, let's see. So let's say we wanted to make it go to the right of the screen, and then we want to make it just grow like at a huge amount. So one thing you have access to is something called the GSAP Timeline. And inside of this, in fact, we don't need to pass it any object. You can just pass it a blank, no arguments. Instead of using GSAP2, which is kind of your like global method you can call stuff on, you could say TL or timeline. You know what, let me just write it out instead of TL. That's bad variable naming. So I'll do timeline2. And what that does is it's going to run the exact same thing. So if I go back and run that code, notice that it doesn't do anything because, let's see, let's look at why. What did I screw up? Oh, I forgot to, you definitely need to target your DOM element. So if I run that, you'll notice that it moved from the left to the right. But if I wanted to, let's say, do something when it was done getting to the right of the screen, I could just attach another 2, and I could change the duration, I could change it to power 4 out, I could change the color, and I could change the width. I don't know, it's like 4,000 in height to 4,000 or something. And X could be 200. Let's just try that out. So now it's going to go left or right. When it's done bouncing, it's going to grow. And that did not look good. Let's see. Let's just move it. So try that. And then it grew. Almost there. I just have to like move it as well. Right? So you can do something like that. And it's really powerful because you can like make full on animations or YouTube video intros. You could do like, let's say you're trying to explain something. I have a video where I'm explaining what a HTTP REST API is. I use GSAP for making that initial like document or animation where it shows the packet going from client to the server drops in, expands, stuff like that. So it's really cool. I'm trying to, oh yeah, the last thing for timeline is sometimes you want these transitions to happen at a different like order. So the third argument you can pass is kind of like an offset. So I can say negative equals 1. And you'll notice here, this is a duration of 2, right? So it didn't actually grow the circle until it got to the very right of the page. But let's say we wanted to start growing the circle halfway before that. So I could do minus equals 1, and that'll kind of offset this animation to be more of the halfway point of this one. So let's just run it as an example. So you see here, it started expanding after the first bounce, and it didn't wait to the very last one. And I can make this a negative 2 so that they both start at the exact same time if I wanted to. You know, let's just make this something else. Let's have 4,000 to do 400. Right? But obviously these are intersecting because the X and the Y are overriding. So yeah, that's how you can do kind of powerful transitions together with GSAP. And I invite you to actually like go through. There's a lot of other methods. You can like pause the timeline. So let's say you wanted to wait for someone to click on their spacebar before you do the next animation. Well, you could do like do this animation and then pause. And then down here, you could have like a click listener. So document, add event listener on click. And then I could say tline.resume. I think this is how you do it. So it should animate all the way to the right. Let me get rid of this. Let's see. 222. Oh, it's called add pause. There's one called, I think, add pause. Let's see. We'll figure it out. All right, so notice that it's going to just sit there, right? And it's waiting for me to touch my keyboard. So the moment I touch my keyboard, it doesn't do anything. And that's probably because this event listener is not actually the right one. What do I do here? On clicked? On key press? I don't remember. My memory's not the best. So is it on key pressed? I think it's just on key press, not pressed. Let's see. Try it again before I look at the docs. So it bounces. I click on my space bar. Doesn't do anything. On key down, on key press, on key up. Object.add event listener. Maybe that needs to be window. Window.add event listener. Just try it one more time. This should be how you do it. Are you kidding me? Come on now. Clicked. I'm gonna start memorizing stuff. I just hate how I have to like. This can't be serious. Okay, so JavaScript window on key press. Like there's got to be something I'm doing wrong. On key press. Let's figure this out. Features no longer recommended. Okay. Why is it not recommended? Document, add event listener, key down. I guess they'll use key down. All right, so let's press space and okay, so it actually did get in here. It crashed because I did not name it TL. I named it timeline. So let's save this file, refresh the page. And now if I click the space bar, notice that it started growing. So you can do a lot of other stuff like pausing, resuming. There's seek reverse, so you can go back in time and then play again. And then, yeah, I mean, I invite you to just look through all the docs and try to learn. You could target different query selectors. There's a lot of cool different animations with offsets. I mean, things you can do with offsets. You could do from the start of the timeline here. So let's say you don't want to do relative. You want to do absolute. You could add those. So yeah, I definitely suggest looking into it. You might not be impressed of the speed at which this is running, and I think that's because I'm recording my screen and my MacBook is not the most powerful. So it's running pretty smooth right now. I don't know why it wasn't running smooth before. So this is how it typically looks, which looks nice. So I don't know why it was kind of laggy the entire video, but yeah. Let me know if you like GSAP or if you have any alternative for CSS animations. Post a comment below, and if not, be sure to like and subscribe this video and this channel, because I'm going to have a lot more videos like this in the future. All right, thank you for watching. I'm Cody Seibert, and peace out.